Hi and welcome to the video. I have an exciting day of travel ahead of me today, as well as a number of flying firsts. My first today is a new destination. I'll be flying to Philadelphia, which is a city that I've never been to before, so really looking forward to that. My second first is a new aircraft type. I'll be flying on the 787-9 for the first time. Now, I've flown the Dash 8 a couple of times before, once with TUI and once with Qatar. Both very different experiences, and you can see the videos for those by clicking on the link in the description below. And finally, and the most exciting first, is that I'm flying on one of American Airlines' brand new 787-9P aircraft, the P standing for Premium. These are their new aircraft fitted with their brand new Flagship Suites, and this flight today is the first time that they're flying this aircraft on the route from Heathrow to Philadelphia. So while it's not technically an inaugural service because they have operated this route for a long time, it is one of now only 2 routes that they're operating these aircraft on internationally, their launch route being Chicago, which they started a few weeks ago. So I hope you enjoy coming along with me while I try out these brand new Flagship Suites. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really hope that you enjoy it. Let's go! Before I could try out American's new suites, I had to get myself to Heathrow, so I had a quick and pleasant flight down to London with BA. The only minor fly in the ointment was that the Glasgow BA lounge was shut due to a burst pipe and severe flooding the night before. But given that I'd have a few hours to enjoy the delights of the Terminal 3 lounges when I arrived, this wasn't exactly a hardship. This leg was just in economy, but I was fortunate enough to score an empty seat beside me to enjoy my sumptuous PA breakfast. The in-flight lead even came round to say hello and offered me a drink from the bar, so I still managed a cheeky glass of champagne about 20 minutes before landing while enjoying some spectacular views over London. After landing, it was a short transfer through Terminal 5 to Terminal 3 where American operate. Terminal 3 is home to several One World lounges, and I made the best of the opportunity to visit a few of them again. First up was a visit to a nearly deserted BA First Lounge for some breakfast. In addition to the buffet provided, there was also the option to order some breakfast items via the QR code on each of the tables. On my last visit to Terminal 3, the American Airlines First Lounge was closed, so I thought I'd pay a quick visit there, but to be honest found it very drab and disappointing, with very little to offer in the way of premium food or drink options. I was also surprised by the number of passengers in here, given the far better lounge options available to them. Maybe they just didn't know. Finally, I popped into the Cathay Pacific First Lounge at the end of the corridor. This is considered by many to be the best of the available One World lounges in Terminal 3, although some have reported that Cathay have been limiting access during peak times, but thankfully I had no such issues in this visit. I decided not to bother visiting the Qantas lounge as, despite it being a very pleasant lounge, there's not much on offer other than alcohol out with the scheduled Qantas flights, so I just relaxed in the Cathay lounge until it was time to head to the gate. To my surprise, when I arrived at Gate 3, the majority of passengers had already been scanned through to the holding pen. I was quickly scanned though, and with almost perfect timing, boarding began about 2 minutes after my arrival at the gate. My aircraft for today's flight was this brand new Boeing 787-9. When I say brand new, the aircraft had only entered passenger service with American Airlines 2 days prior, and this flight was going to be its 5th ever passenger flight, so I mean this was a new aircraft, and in fact was the newest aircraft to join American Airlines fleet at the time of the flight. There was a brief hold at the end of the jet bridge as the crew weren't quite ready for us, but it was only for a minute or two before we began boarding. This aircraft, which American dubbed the 787-9P, with the P denoting the premium heavy configuration, is fitted with American's latest generation of business class seating, dubbed the Flagship Suite, as well as refurbished premium economy and economy seating. Business class comprises 51 suites, split across 9 rows in the forward cabin and 5 in the rear cabin in a 1-2-1 layout, and are based on a customised version of the Adient Ascent platform with styling by Teague. Suites in the first row of each cabin are dubbed Preferred Suites and offer additional space, particularly around the feet. I was travelling in one of these larger Preferred Suites today, and I'll be reviewing the Standard Suites in a future video, so keep an eye out for that. Behind business class, you'll find 5 rows of premium economy fitted with new Recaro R5 recliner seats, configured in a 2-3-2 layout, and each come equipped with an adjustable calf rest, foot bars and winged headrests for a bit more privacy. And finally, economy or main cabin as American dub it, has a very small cabin of only 2.5 rows immediately behind premium economy, with the remaining 16 rows occupying the rear cabin. Both of these economy cabins are laid out in a 3-3-3 configuration, with the seats based on the Collins Aero Aspire seats. After being welcomed on board by Christopher, who would turn out to be our flight attendant today, it was a right turn for me as I was in seat 11A in the first row in the rear business class cabin. Unsurprisingly, the cabin was fresh and bright, although the first thing I noticed was that the aisle felt quite narrow. The sides of the suites are quite tall, more so than the likes of BA's Club Suite, and curve in a bit towards the aisle. It will be interesting to hear what the crew think of the slightly narrower aisles going forward, as I could see that causing some issues for them during service. On the seat were 2 large bedding packs. This is one of the areas where American are trying to differentiate products between the Preferred Flagship Suites and the Standard Suites, with the Preferred including enhanced bedding and amenities. This means that in addition to the standard duvet, pillow and slippers that you usually get in the Flagship Suites, you also get a substantial Nest mattress pad, additional throw blanket, a lumbar memory foam pillow and Nest branded pyjamas. I'll come back to these differences later in the video when I look at the seat in flat bed mode, but in this flight pyjamas were not provided, and when I asked the flight attendant about it, he said that they weren't being provided yet and that they were planned for longer flights with American, which seems to go against what it says on the website. So looking around the seat, first impressions are really good. It's quite a nice space with plenty of legroom. Obviously this is brand new. This is only its 5th revenue flight for this aircraft, so everything is still lovely and pristine. Having a look round the suite, we've got a literature holder at the side here, where you've got the safety card and a suite guidance pack, which I'll look at later. Come around, you've got a 4K touchscreen TV, underneath of which you've got the tray table to pull out. So this pulls out, it's quite substantial, very solid feeling to it. A couple of storage areas here, small one at the side, a pocket there for laptops or media. Plenty of space here. This forms part of the bed when the seat's flat. Moving round to the side, you've got the massive windows of the 787-9. You've got a little drinks holder here at the side, a little shallow storage tray there, and behind that there's a wireless charging point for your mobile phone. Below this you'll find all of the seat controls, lighting controls, and a do not disturb button as well. Moving round, you've got a universal power socket and USB charging slot, the remote control for the IFE, and a touch sensitive light with a few different settings. And you've also got a little storage locker here for the headphones that also has a mirror in it. Hello! Over your shoulder there's a small reading light, and to the aisle side of the chair you'll also find an adjustable armrest with a storage area inside it, although this is only really going to be of use to you when the seat is in flat bed mode. Once boarding was completed, the crew came through the cabin with pre-flight drinks. The only options available were sparkling water or sparkling wine, so I went for the latter, which was served in a plastic cup as seems to be the norm for American. I took the opportunity to have a look at the IFE system, which is based on the Thales event system and sees an upgrade to 4K touchscreens throughout the aircraft. In business class, these are 17-inch, which felt relatively small in these preferred suites, but I get that they've probably been kept this size for consistency with the other suites. The IFE was reasonably responsive and had a good selection of movies and TV shows, as you'd expect from American. I did have a couple of minor issues with my screen and had to get the system reset shortly after takeoff, but I'm not sure if that was just an initial bug with the system, given that this was a brand new aircraft. One really nice feature of this new system is the ability to pair your own Bluetooth earphones directly to the screen. I prefer using my own Samsung Galaxy earbuds when travelling and usually pair these with an AirFly adapter, but this makes life so much simpler and it's good to see it becoming a growing trend with new seat designs. Bluetooth pairing is a feature available on all screens aboard the aircraft, including economy and premium economy seats. With boarding completed and the doors closed, we started to push back for our taxi over to runway 27 right. As with most of these modern suites, you need to wear a shoulder strap for taxi takeoff and landing, but personally I always find these a little uncomfortable, but do appreciate that they're there for my safety. Orders were taken by the crew for drinks and meals, confirming with me my pre-ordered preference of the beef for my main course, which I'd made a couple of weeks prior on the American Airlines website. As is always the case at Heathrow, the taxi gave the opportunity to see a few other aircraft up close, and our departure was even captured by Flight Focus 365 on their live stream YouTube. If you're enjoying the video, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for notifications of new videos when they're released. Leave me a comment to let me know what your thoughts are on the video, and if you'd like to support me more directly, you can buy me a coffee by clicking on the link in the description below or using the QR code on the screen. Once in the air, service began with hot towels. Feeling refreshed, I tried out the Wi-Fi service on board, as you can only connect to this on the ground if you have a credit card with a US address, but this isn't a requirement once you're in the air. A full flight pass was $25, which I thought was okay, and American also offer the option to pay using Advantage miles. About an hour after takeoff, tables were set and service began with drinks along with a bowl of warm mixed nuts and a bowl of olives and stuffed peppers. Around 30 minutes later, starters were brought out consisting of a small plate of hot smoked salmon with Thai rice noodles and a romaine lettuce salad. Neither of these were particularly great. The salmon and noodles were stone cold, and the salad was just a dry and uninteresting collection of vegetables. I could forgive the cold salmon, as this was the first time the crew were working with this new aircraft in its ovens, but it just didn't have a great flavour combination and wasn't at all appetising. It was around this point that one of the drinks trolleys tipped over right outside my seat as it was being wheeled back to the galley. Thankfully nobody was hurt, and other than a soaking wet carpet outside my suite, there was no harm done. Around 30 minutes later, mains were brought out. I had opted for the slow-cooked beef with cauliflower mash, and the meat was tender and tasty, along with the juice supplied. Finally, dessert was served shortly after the main meal service was cleared away, with a choice of ice cream sundae, cheese plate, or chocolate mousse on offer. And predictably, I went for the ice cream sundae with chocolate fudge sauce, chopped nuts, and whipped cream. Even though the cream was frozen more solidly than the ice cream, it still tasted fantastic, and it remains my favourite dessert on any airline. As the tables were cleared away, we were briefly joined by a Delta 767-400 off our left wing, travelling from Geneva to JFK as flight DL99. It's not often you get to see other aircraft flying up close to yours, so this was a bit of an AvGeek treat for me. It was around this time that the crew also unlocked the doors for the suites. I found the suite to be very private with the door closed. I felt maybe the walls were a little higher than BA's club suites, but I'm not sure. You let me know what you think in the comments. The majority of the cabin dimmed their windows at this point in the flight, although I did keep mine open. One annoying glitch in my suite was that my single window appeared to be linked to the forward window of the seat behind me, so there was a little bit of a recurring battle where the passenger behind me would try to dim his windows, which would then dim mine. We settled on it being partially dimmed for most of the flight, but I'm assuming that this is just a software tweak needing changed in the window controls for that part of the cabin. If you can't beat them, join them, so I decided to try out the flat bed and see if I could manage to get a rest. And let me tell you, that Nest mattress topper that's supplied for the preferred suites is an absolute game changer and made this hands down the most comfortable airline bed that I've ever been in so far. I'm a side sleeper, so this worked really well for me, but I have to say, if you sleep on your back, I found the bed to be a little bit narrow at the shoulders, so you'll need to see how that works out for you. Despite the comfort of the seat, I wasn't able to rest for long, as is the usual for me when flying. So I sat up and watched some more entertainment in the system, leaving the mattress topper on the seat, which also made it an even more comfortable seat. I also took the opportunity to check out the two toilets located between the two business class cabins. So this is one of two toilets serving the rear business class cabin. It's pretty basic. You've got a pop down seat here for booby changing. Big mirror. Hello. Blue, but yeah, pretty much bog standard Boeing fittings for a 787 toilet. Usual kind of mixer tabs. And this is the larger disabled toilet, serving the rear cabin for business class. Again, booby changing table. Also okay, I thought that was a seat, but not. You have a handle here, and again, very basic, simple fit out, no frills added. Couple of coat hooks, but very basic toilets. So what are my honest thoughts on this new flagship suite that American have launched? Well, I think it's a good product. I think it's a big improvement on what they had on their wide body fleet before, and I think it will be well received. Do I think it's a game changer? No, I don't. I still think that this is lagging well behind the likes of the Q suite. I think that it suffers from a lack of storage, which is really disappointing for a brand new flagship, if you pardon the pun, product. There are a lot of positives, there's a few negatives. One positive is that this is the comfiest bed that I've slept in or lay down on any aircraft. Now, sadly, I think that's largely because of the memory foam mattress topper, which American are currently only providing in these preferred suites. They are not on the normal seats. Now I will be flying in one of those normal suites in a future video, so I'd encourage you to make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified when that video comes out. Service on board's been really good, although this is the first flight on this aircraft that the crew have worked on. I noticed, and they've also commented, that one of the downsides is the aisles are a lot narrower than they're used to, and they're having issues getting up and down the trolleys. I don't mean it's too narrow for a trolley, but there's no space around it, and they've had issues with trolleys getting stuck. In fact, earlier on, at the start of the flight, one of the trolleys tipped over, all of the drinks and other stuff went flying everywhere all over the floor. I think the IFE is good. I find it harder to work than the IFE that I've used on other American Airlines flights. For example, my most recent one on one of the 777s to and from Miami and LAX. I don't know if it's just something that I would get used to, but I still think it's a little bit buggy. My IFE shortly after takeoff had to be reset by one of the cabin crew because I was getting audio for the show that I was watching, but the image was stuck on one of the American Airlines adverts. I think that the food was good. Again, I think service is going to take a little bit of practice, but the crew on here have been really good. I can't complain about them handling the service at all. Although, as it seems to be typical with American flights, once service was done and they came round and cleared everything up, the cabin lights were down, they dimmed all the windows and basically disappeared for the rest. Well, we're about an hour and a half away from landing and as yet haven't come through the cabin. Now, that's not to say there was any issue getting additional service. If I either went up to the galley or pressed the call bell, somebody would come and take a drink order for me without too much of a problem. So, again, I can't fault the service. Food was reasonably good. The main course was good. I felt the starter was a bit bland. The one that, again, there's no choice of starter. You get a salad and a little salmon dish on this flight. And I felt that they were both quite flavourless. The slow-cooked beef that I had was very good. And as always, you can't fly with American without having one of their ice cream or sundaes. I couldn't even tell you what the other desserts were. As soon as I see the sundae, that's what I'm having, and it was excellent as always. So yeah, it's been a really good flight. There's a few things I'll be feeding back to American on, little daft niggly things like my window being slaved to the window of the passenger behind me. So one of his two windows is controlled by me, and it means vice versa, that if they want to darken their window, it darkens mine. So these are simple configuration things, I'm sure, that can be reprogrammed and changed. Another really, really good thing about the IFE is this is another suite that supports Bluetooth pairing. So no messing about with cables or AirFly adapters to get your normal Bluetooth noise cancelling headphones to work with the system. It works really well. So yeah, it's been a really good first flight. I've really enjoyed it so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the service is like when I fly from LA to Chicago on another one of these same aircraft in the standard Flagship Suites. So I'll let you know how that goes as well. But yeah, I think this overall is a good suite. It's a good product. It's probably not the industry-leading change that American would hope for, particularly space around shoulders. Like when you're lying down, I found this seat quite tight across the shoulders, although it was better in other areas like legroom. But I tend to be a side sleeper anyway, so actually having the space for both my legs to fit under the worktop, they were all really good. Again, I don't know if that's just this preferred suite or if that applies to all the seats, so I'll do a proper comparison once I've flown both products, and I'll let you know what I think. With about 45 minutes to go, we were treated to some great views out over Nantucket Sound, Martha's Vineyard and the infamous Chappaquiddick Island. The crew had come round a little earlier to offer a light second meal, but I wasn't really taken with either option. feeling more tired than hungry at this stage of my travel day, and declined. So apologies that I can't comment on either of these dishes.
Flight attendants, prepare for landing.
Unfortunately, cloud obscured most of the views as we turned and continued our descent over New Jersey, until we turned northwest over Wilmington, and then we were able to see the mighty Delaware River below us, marking the state line between Delaware and New Jersey, and then Pennsylvania and New Jersey further up. After touching down on runway 9 right, we had a relatively short taxi over to our stand in Terminal A West here at Philadelphia International Airport, bringing to an end a very enjoyable flight with American in their new Flagship Preferred Suite. It's definitely a good product, and I look forward to trying out the standard suite in an upcoming video. Thanks so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss new videos when they're released. And be sure to leave me a comment to let me know what your thoughts are on American's new Flagship Suites.
Well, thanks again.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you.